Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is Rick Williams from Stellar Negotiating Secrets, Real Estate Negotiating Secrets. And today we're going to talk about a dynamic subject that I guarantee you will change your life should you take heed to this information today and apply it and execute it in your life. Today we're going to talk about the paintbrush. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the paintbrush. How you can paint the picture that you want to see in your life. And let's jump right into it. First of all, let's realize this. You, my brother, you, my sister, you are the one that have the paintbrush, that has the paintbrush to your destiny, to your life, to see that your goals are achieved and to see that you reach whatever it is that your maximum potential is. All right? Not your brother, not your mother, not your sister, not your uncle, not your cousin, not your child, not your grandma, not your grandpa. You have the paintbrush, all right? So you're the one that decides what happens ultimately in all of the social encounters that you have, which is what these courses are about, negotiating and getting to have your desired end come out of whatever the interaction is that you're dealing with, whether it's in business, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's in social life, whatever it is that you're trying to get accomplished, whatever your goals may be, you have to paint the picture, baby. You have the paintbrush. So the first thing that we want to understand is that because of this dynamic, this incredible gift that we have, the ability to be able to paint our own destiny and not to be able to blame other people. See, every time you do this, there are three fingers pointing back at you. So if you aren't achieving your goals, if you don't have goals to achieve, if you haven't written out what you're going to do, we want to talk today about how you paint the picture. So the very first thing we want you to understand is that you're the one with the paintbrush, all right? Nobody else, all right? So what do you do? So painting a picture means that you have to be able to have vision. You have to be able to see what you can't see with your natural eye. If you are a visionary, let me tell you something. You are a very unique individual, and you have an innate ability to be able to get things done that you create in your head, in your mind, and then they come into fruition. For example, before you open up this email and watch this particular exercise and this particular training, you had in your mind a vision of seeing Rick talking and perhaps explaining some things and being a little silly and having some fun and being able to infuse you with some energy to be able to carry out whatever it is that you want to do today. So since you had that vision in your mind, you were able to cooperate and open up this email and start listening to this training. So that's how simple it is to have a vision. When you see things that haven't occurred yet, but you picture them in your mind, those things take place. So you are the sum of whatever it is that you're painting today. You are the sum of whatever it is that you've painted up until this point. You are not the sum of other people's paintings, all right? You are the sum of your own painting. So with that thought in mind, remember this. Hebrews says this in the 11th chapter, the first verse. It says that faith is the evidence of things unseen. It's the substance of things hoped for. By it, the elders obtained a good report. Through faith, we understand that the worlds were framed by the word of God, so that things which are seen were made of things which do not appear. All right? So everything that you want to have, every kind of transaction, everything that you want to see happen in your life is going to come from what you conjure up in your mind, and then it becomes a reality in your life. So what you can't see is real, and what you can see is phony, because all this stuff fades away. This flesh and blood will be back in the ground in a little bit, and what's going to be of your life? What kind of legacy did you leave? So with that thought in mind, let's start dealing with reality. And reality is what? It's the picture that we paint, okay? Reality is that what we snatch from out of the unknown and from out of the unseen with the natural eye, and then we bring it into reality with what's going on around us where we can see it, okay? In other words, things are made of things which do not appear. All right. So when you create, you separate yourself from 99% of the population, because most people are reacting. Most people are not creating. So you're a unique individual. Everybody has the ability to create because we were made in the image of God, and he is an incredible creator. All right. So you have the tremendous ability to create. The question is are you creating? Are you taking advantage of the paintbrush? Okay. All right. So, it requires vision, okay? Because where there's no vision, the people perish. Let's take into account what happened with Elisha, the prophet, in 2 Kings in the 6th chapter. The king of Syria was having a fit. He was trying to figure out, every time we get ready to make a move, the king of Israel knows what we're getting ready to do. So he was really angry about it. He wanted to know who is the snitch in this camp, all right? Because you know snitches get stitches, all right? So he was ready to find out who it was, and he was going to do something about it. And then a handmaid told him that was from Israel, said, no, 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 no. That's not what's going on. A captive told him, he said, what's really going on is there's a prophet in Israel, and he knows your every move. He knows what's going on in your bedroom. So she told him, you need to get in touch with him, get him out the picture, and you'll be all right. So he sent over some of his boys, and they went over to catch up with Elisha and to try to basically bring him in, and bring him into custody. So when his boys got there, all mounted up a long army of people, Elisha's servant Gehazi got real nervous about the situation. He was sitting up, he said, hey, master, they outside and they are strapped. What are we going to do? All right. So Elisha said, well, it's more with us than it is with them. So, Gehazi was trying to figure out, what kind of math are you doing, man? It's only 2 of us and they have an army out there. Elisha said, Lord, open his eyes. And when God opened his brother's eyes, he looked up and he saw chariots of fire. He saw a heavenly army all around him. And then he realized that it was more with them than it was with these kings. So what I'm saying to you is that what you can't see is real. And what you can see is fictitious, all right? So you create what it is that you want to see, what picture it is, whatever picture it is that you're trying to paint, all right? Now, the problem is that if you all realize right now I'm holding up a what? A real little bitty paintbrush. So that means that the results that you're going to get if you paint pictures with this little bitty thing are going to be nominal, and they're not going to change your generation or leave a legacy, all right? So what you need to do is get a bigger brush. All right, that's what you need to do. You need to paint a picture with a bigger brush. But let me tell you something, my brother. Let me tell you something, my sister. The reason people use these little bitty paintbrushes versus this nice one right here is because they don't want to pay the price. This brush costs more. All right, okay? And you have to be willing to pay the price if you're going to paint a picture in your life that's going to change your generation and the generations to come, because you have that ability. All right, but you have to be willing to pay the price. All right, so what's going to happen? What's going to happen? When you change the size of your paintbrush, now your negotiation is going to be different, because you're going to have to paint in some people and you're going to have to paint out some people. All right? You follow what I'm saying? Paint in and paint out. You'll never, ever increase the levels of business that you're doing, the impact that you have, the influence that you have, and the income that you desire. You'll never be able to do that unless you can paint the picture unless you can discard some of the people that are currently in your picture, and unless you can increase or get involved more people in your picture who are sharper than you. All right? I would rather be a 1 on a level that's a little higher than I am right now than to be a 10 on my current level. Let me explain what I mean. When you're a 10 on your current level, that means that you're the sharpest person. You're the sharpest knife in the drawer. All right? So what you want, a cookie? All right? That's not an accomplishment. What you want to do is you want to be a 1 on the next level constantly. And when you're a 1 on the next level constantly, then that means that you're challenging yourself to be better, and the people around you are sharper than you. And what happens is that you catch on a vision based on the vision of people whose visions are higher than yours. So that way you can start executing contracts at a higher level. You can start talking to people that can say yes at higher numbers. You can start dealing with people who do business in a kind of a way that you can attain, and so that you can learn by association how these people run their systems, all right? And then you can also get the confidence that it takes to be able to deal with people that deal with millions of dollars, all right? So how do you do that? You do that by changing, first of all, your surroundings, painting a different picture. The picture that you've been painting up to this point, at whatever level you're at, look at it as petty so far, all right? All right? It all depends on your vantage point of how you see something, all right? When Gehazi looked at that army, he saw people and he was intimidated, all right? He wanted to run and hide. He wanted to get away. He thought he was going to die, okay? But when Elisha, who had a much larger vision than he had, he could already see what Gehazi could not see, all right? So it's very important that you surround yourself around visionaries, that you surround yourself with people who can see something that you cannot see, so that you can attain levels that you haven't gone to so far. If you're satisfied with the levels that you're at, wherever you are right now, and if you feel like you've attained something, then you might as well just roll up and die. All right? Because we're living right here, okay? And we want to go further than we've gone in the past. And how do you do that? You do that by associating with people who are at a level that's higher than yours. Catch on to the next person's vision. You have to have vision of your own, all right? However, in order for that vision to increase, you have to, the way that we're built, the way that we're made by associations, okay? And your associations have to be people that you move up towards, all right? Which means that you're going to have to learn some things that you haven't learned. You're going to have to be exposed to some things that you haven't been exposed to. You're going to have to execute some things that you haven't executed before. And all of that is because you have the ability to paint that brush. Isn't it wonderful that you have several people who already think at a higher level than you think? Isn't it wonderful that you have several people who are already more bold than you are, already have more faith than you have? So if you're going to move up to that level, that means that obviously you're going to have to discard some people as well. All right. So you have some people in your life right now who don't see what you see. You have some people in your life right now who can't understand where it is that you're trying to go. You have some people in your life right now who will fight you vehemently because you're trying to make steps and progress into areas, into ventures, into things that you haven't done in the past, and they can't see it. Let me tell you something about people and just human nature. When a person is on the sideline and they aren't moving, when you decide that you're going to do something and you're going to move forward, they're going to get angry. They're going to get mad. They're going to resist you, and they're going to try to cause you some grief. Sometimes they love you, and sometimes they love you dearly. Now, if it happens to be a spouse, then you should try to fight. You should try to fight that thing out, you know. And if it comes down to it, and they just can't get along because they don't want to be with you, then that's something you should try to fight out to the end. If it's a toxic relationship that you're involved in, and you're trying to paint a different picture in your life, and you don't even have to be bothered with this person, then you need to paint them out. Okay, that's what you need to do. Paint them out. All right, because once you start painting people out, then the people that's supposed to show up, they show up in your life. All right. Okay. Because nobody's going to show up in your life while you're inundated with folks that ought to be painted out. Now, why don't we paint people out? Why do we keep such a little paintbrush that allows people to be involved with our life at this little one? Let's go back to this little bitty paintbrush. This is the paintbrush that allows toxic people into your relationships. All right. So when you're trying to negotiate with people, trying to get things done, and you got this person over here always talking about, oh, my darling, Plymouth time, it ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to work. And what it really is that they don't like being challenged. They don't like seeing anything new happen in their life. And so they want to give you their advice. But why would you take the advice of a person who's not where you're trying to go? All right. Because we love people, and because we feel comfortable with certain people. All right. And because we don't want to what? Pay the price. All right. When you pay the price and get a bigger paintbrush, what happens is that it's going to irritate situations in your life. It's going to cause you to have people that are close to you to not like you anymore. And that's okay. All right. Because you have to love everybody, but you don't have to like everybody. All right. You have to love everybody, but you do not have to like everybody. It's okay not to be liked. It's okay to be held in scorn and disdain by folks that ain't going nowhere. Okay. All right. So don't you let nobody impede your progress. Pay the price. When you get ready to pay the price for something, it's going to cost you. Some people in your life should simply be viewing whatever's going on with you from the second balcony. When we do our stage productions, there are VIPs, all right? They sit down in the front. They get the best seats. They get to see all of the really good acting and really good singing. They get to hear all of our corny jokes. I think they're brilliant, okay? And they get to see the expressions on people's faces and everything. Why? Because they paid the price to be up front, okay? When you pay the price, then your perspective changes, your vision changes, the angle of the way that you look at things changes, all right? So when you paint a picture, make sure that you are all in, okay? 100% in, all right? Because no man can serve two masters. Either you love one and cling to the other one, or either you despise one, either you love one and hate the other one, or you despise one and you cling to the other one. So our problem or our issue or our challenge that we have today is, can we go all in, all right? All right? And that's why you have to paint some people out of your picture, all right? Because when you're all in and you're dealing with people that's half-hearted, you're going to have a tug of war on a consistent basis. So I'm telling you today, paint the picture, pay the price, shed some weight, okay? Shed some weight. So what, you're comfortable right now? So what you've been doing all this time, all right? You know what I'm saying? You've been dealing with this little bitty paintbrush, okay? All right? And you can't get things done. You got to be willing to walk away from some situations. Just yesterday, I was negotiating with a young lady. And she told me that, okay, I want some earnest money if you're going to buy this building. I said, okay, earnest money is fine. She said, I want to be able to keep the earnest money, and I can spend it if I want to before the closing date. I said, that's not how business goes in real estate. Okay, you don't take an earnest check and go spend it, all right? In fact, it goes to the title company, and they hold on to the check. She said, but I got a good house, you know, and if you want to buy this house, you're going to have to buy this house based on my terms. Now, if I had a little paintbrush, I'd have been like, okay, let's buy this house based on your terms. You take the money. And thank you so much for selling me this house. I just so appreciate it. Like it's the last house in the world. Okay, so let me tell you what happened. I got a big paintbrush. All right, so you know what I told her? I told her that there's certain ways that business is transpired. And if we can't do it a way that's mutually beneficial towards both of us, that has some protocol, then God bless you. Have a good day. All right. So I walked away from that situation. And unless that situation evolves into something that makes sense, whereas the earnest money is held by the title company, then we won't be doing business because I'm willing to walk away because I have a big paintbrush. Now, because of that, I got 2 calls just yesterday from people that want to sell me their houses, totally based on terms that make sense, really good deals, where I make good money off of both the deals. They call me. It happens all the time because people call me all the time. Because of all of the different marketing strategies I have. We'll get to that in some more of our videos. But because of my attitude, and the attitude that I'm trying to tell you is that don't carry around this little brush. When you carry around this little brush, people come and make their agenda your agenda. Then they start talking to you and you start negotiating with them as though they're doing you a favor. All right? Okay? All right. Nobody's doing you a favor. Okay? You make sure that you do your marketing, everything that it is that you need to do to be able to get good deals. And when a good deal comes across, you make sure that you get something where you win as well as the person. You know, where everybody wins in a situation. If you can't win in a situation, then don't get involved in it. But when you got a little paintbrush, and you're desperate to do business with whoever, then you'll find out that the people will manipulate you and that they'll take advantage of that. So getting this paintbrush is painful, okay? It comes with a price, all right? People will ostracize you, say you narcissistic, think you better than other folks and all that kind of stuff. That's cool, okay? That's all right, okay? It's okay for haters. If you don't have haters, then you ain't busting a grape. If you don't have haters, then you aren't doing something that's worthwhile. If you don't have haters, you are definitely not negotiating at high levels, all right? Because people don't understand how you can have so much moxie, confidence, and belief in yourself, all right? But it's totally based on the picture you paint. Who are you, all right? Who are you, all right? What is your divine purpose? If your purpose is worth whatever it is that you're going after, then you have to stay laser beam focused. And you stay that way based on painting a big picture. Let me give you an example of what happens when a person paints a bigger picture and what people are ready for. Okay, let's take Charles Babbage, okay, who's known as the father of the computer. He was born in 1791. And Brother Babbage was in his house coming up with these innovations and stuff about how you can replace numerical numbers with computer numbers. So when no computers around, so what do you think people thought about him? They thought he was crazy, all right? Not only did they think he was crazy, but they thought he was doing some type of witchcraft on top of that. So what did they do to Charles? The organ grinders would go up and down his block and play right in front of his house to antagonize him, to scrutinize him, and to basically try to get him to stop doing what he was doing because they thought he was in the house doing some type of witchcraft because it was new to them. And when you come up with concepts and ideas that are new to people, the first thought or the first reaction from people is resistance, okay? And so in order for you to get used to dealing with people with resistance, you have to have a big paintbrush. You have to paint pictures that other people don't understand, all right? And it's okay. It's okay, all right? Because if they don't understand and they start trying to cause you some grief, you are on the right track. So I just want to encourage you today to keep doing what it is that you're doing if you've already painted some pictures that are worth going after, because there's a price that has to be paid. You have to be willing to pay that price, and you have to understand that there will be friction, antagonistic behavior, vehement opposition from folks who don't like what it is that you're doing, all right? But it's worth it if your divine purpose is worth it. So make sure that whatever picture you're painting, that is congruent with your divine purpose, that is congruent with your goals, that is congruent with your activities. Let's take some material things, for example, before we go, all right? We're always talking about spiritual things and trying to do things to help other folks. But let's talk about yourself for a second here. I want to get this brand new black Mercedes truck, and I want to pay cash for it, and I like to have it before this year is over with. So it's one of my goals, all right? Just for me, you know, I just want it because it's so nice. And And it's for $54,000 was the list price on it. So it's not a lot of money, you know. But then they start showing all of the amenities that came along with it. I was like, holy smokes. They even got it where it is where when you're getting ready to park, it'll park for you. It'll feel some bumps and it'll feel it'll feel some of the sensors that's going on in the parking lot and what have you. And they had about 50 different amenities on this. You know what? I want them all. All of them. I take all of them, every single amenity that was on there. I want it on this truck, and I'm going to keep it in front of me. And when I get ready to buy the truck, I'm not going to say no to myself. All right? Because why? Because I'm painting this picture. You know what what happens when you get the little bus? You're like, you know what? I'll take it. But just as long as it's got power steering. Why would you drive a Mercedes Benz and the only thing you got is power steering? All right, baby, you want every bell, every whistle that goes on there. It's nothing but just another deal. It's nothing but just another phone call. It's nothing but just a bigger paintbrush. All right. So I've gone a little bit over our 20 minutes for the day. And I want you to understand that whatever picture it is that you want in your life, however you want to negotiate with people, you paint the picture. All right. You make sure that the terms are based on what makes sense, where both of you all can benefit from it. And you make sure that you don't paint yourself into a corner. All right. Stop settling. Stop settling. Stop minding mediocrity, all right? Stop being average. Stop living on Settles Boulevard, all right? And move on up to the place where you become uncomfortable until you become comfortable being uncomfortable, all right? Okay, so that's my time. We're just about a minute over where we need to go. Next week, we're going to start talking about advertising and how to find customers and how to be able to get people coming to you at a brisk level. That's what we're going to be discussing for the rest of our series. So right now, I want you to make sure that you pull out your paintbrush. Go buy you a paintbrush, stick it next to your room, and have it as your as a symbol of what it is that you want to do. Again, it's Rick Williams signing off from Stellar Homes. It's been a plum pleasing pleasure as well as a privilege to talk with you today. And remember that Stellar is as Stellar does. I'll see you soon.